Why sea mines are the most dangerous weapon nobody talks about. A weapon that costs less than a used car just shut down 21% of the world's oil supply. And nobody knows exactly where they all are. They are sitting on the seabed right now, silent, patient, waiting for the next ship. And the most powerful navies on Earth have no reliable way to find them all. This is the Strait of Hormuz, the single most important stretch of water on the planet. Every day, roughly a fifth of the world's oil passes through a channel only 21 nautical miles wide at its narrowest point. And at this moment, that channel is not fully open. Not because of politics, not because of diplomacy, because of mines. During the recent conflict, Iran planted naval mines across sections of the shipping lane. A ceasefire has been announced. Tankers are slowly beginning to move again. But according to multiple reports, Iran has lost track of some of them. They do not know exactly where all of them are. International minesweeping operations are underway. Experts say it could take months. Insurance premiums for tankers have spiked. Alternative routing is being coordinated through Iranian armed forces. And every single day the strait stays restricted, the global economy loses billions. $1,000 weapon, holding the world economy hostage. Here is what you need to understand. The weapon that won't die. Sea mines have existed since the American Civil War, over 160 years. The basic concept has not changed in all that time. An explosive device, placed underwater, that waits for a ship to come close enough to trigger it. What has changed is the trigger. Early mines required physical contact. A ship had to actually touch the casing to set it off. That is no longer required. Modern mines can be detonated by the magnetic signature of a steel hull passing overhead, by the pressure wave of a ship displacing water, by the specific acoustic frequency of a particular propeller. Some advanced models can distinguish between classes of ships. They will ignore a fishing boat, ignore a cargo tanker, and only detonate when a warship matches the precise signature they have been programmed to hunt. They are the simplest, cheapest, and most effective naval weapon ever invented. And despite billions of dollars spent on countermeasures, no navy on Earth has a reliable way to clear them quickly. But here is what makes them terrifying. It is not the technology. It is the math. The impossible math. A basic sea mine costs between $1,000 and $25,000 to build and deploy. That is the full price. Casing, explosive, trigger mechanism, transport, placement. Removing one mine costs between $50,000 and $100,000. And that is when everything goes well. A single mine can disable or destroy a warship worth $200 million to $4 billion. Read those numbers again. A $1,000 device can put a $200 million warship on the ocean floor. That is a cost ratio of 200,000 to 1. In 1988, during the Iran-Iraq War, a mine estimated to cost around $1,500 struck the hull of the USS Samuel B. Roberts, a guided missile frigate worth roughly $200 million. The blast nearly broke the ship in half. It stayed afloat only because of extraordinary damage control by the crew. A $1,500 weapon almost took out a $200 million asset. The cost asymmetry is staggering. The attacker always wins the economic calculation. You can mine an entire shipping strait for less than the price of a single fighter jet. And this is the math that military planners have nightmares about. Why they can't be stopped. Minesweeping is slow. It is dangerous. And it is unreliable. The traditional method involves dragging mechanical cables behind specialized ships to cut mine mooring lines. A technique that has barely changed since the First World War. Modern sonar and underwater drones help, but the fundamental problem remains. You have to check every square meter of a contested area, and every square meter could kill you. It gets worse. Modern mines can be programmed to ignore the first 10 ships that pass and detonate on the 11th. They can be set to sit dormant for weeks, then activate on a timer. Some listen for a specific acoustic signature and refuse to trigger unless that exact ship class passes overhead. This means a cleared channel is never truly clear. A minesweeper can pass through a lane, declare it safe, and the next tanker can still be destroyed by a mine that was deliberately programmed to let the minesweeper go by. Clearing a mine channel can take weeks, often months, and you are never 100% sure you got them all. And this uncertainty is the real weapon, not the explosion, the doubt. A shipping company does not need to see a mine detonate to reroute. They only need to believe one might still be there. Insurance markets do not wait for a casualty. They price in the risk. One suspected mine can shut down a lane more effectively than a dozen confirmed explosions. What's happening right now? During the 2026 Iran conflict, Iranian forces deployed naval mines across sections of the Strait of Hormuz. The ceasefire has been announced. On paper, the conflict is over. The mines are not. Reports indicate Iran has lost track of some of them. The exact positions of certain deployments are no longer precisely known, even to the people who planted them. International naval forces, including specialized minesweeping units, are conducting clearance operations. Progress is measured in days per square kilometer. Commercial tankers are slowly transiting the strait again, but insurance costs have spiked. Some routes are being coordinated directly with Iranian armed forces to avoid suspected zones. Oil prices remain elevated. Refineries in Asia are drawing down strategic reserves, and every additional day of restricted flow costs the global economy billions. A fifth of the world's oil, passing over a seabed where nobody is certain what is still down there. And this is where a 150-year-old weapon meets the modern global economy. The history nobody teaches. Sea mines have sunk or damaged more ships since the Second World War than missiles, torpedoes, and aircraft combined. That is not a rhetorical flourish. That is the official tally from multiple naval assessments. In the Second World War alone, mines sank or damaged over 2,600 ships. In the Korean War, North Korea mined Wonsan Harbor and held up a major American amphibious landing for weeks. A United States admiral later testified that the operation had been defeated by weapons built before the First World War. In Vietnam, the United States mined Haiphong Harbor to pressure North Vietnam. It took years to clear the mines after the war ended. In 1988, the USS Samuel B. Roberts struck an Iranian mine in the Persian Gulf. The ship nearly broke apart. In 1991, during the Gulf War, two American warships, the USS Tripoli and the USS Princeton, both hit Iraqi mines on the same day, within hours of each other, in waters that had already been checked. Damages exceeded $100 million. Every major naval conflict since the invention of the mine has involved mines. And every single time, the navies on the receiving end are surprised by how effective they are. And this raises the most uncomfortable question of all. Why no one has solved this? The United States Navy has spent billions of dollars on mine countermeasures, dedicated programs, specialized ships, advanced sonar, autonomous underwater vehicles, helicopter-based sweepers. Most of these programs have been canceled, delayed, or underperformed in testing. The Littoral Combat Ship Mine Warfare Package, the Navy's primary modern solution, was years behind schedule and fell short of performance benchmarks when it was finally delivered. The dedicated mine countermeasures ships currently in the fleet are decades old and scheduled for retirement. The reason is structural. Mines are a defensive weapon used by weaker powers against stronger ones. The United States Navy is built for offensive power projection, aircraft carriers, guided missile destroyers, nuclear submarines, strike aviation. Mine warfare is unglamorous. It is slow. It does not win budget battles in Washington. Inside the service, there is a phrase for it. They call it the neglected warfare. Everyone knows it is critical. Nobody wants to fund it. Every few years, a commission reports that the fleet is dangerously underprepared for mine warfare. The reports are filed. The budgets go elsewhere. This means the world's most powerful navy remains structurally vulnerable to the world's cheapest weapon. And this is the gap that Iran just exploited. It is not the only country capable of exploiting it. Russia maintains one of the largest mine stockpiles in the world. North Korea has invested heavily in naval mining capability. China is estimated to hold tens of thousands of mines of varying sophistication. Any coastal state with a fishing fleet and a few crates of explosives can, in theory, close a strategic waterway. The barrier to entry is almost nothing. The disruption it creates is almost total. The design flaw. Here is what makes this situation different from every other military threat you hear about. There is no technological breakthrough that solves it. There is no weapons program that eliminates the risk. There is no treaty that can unplant what has already been planted. A naval mine requires no radar to find a target. It requires no guidance system. It requires no pilot, no crew, no fuel, no command network. It requires only patience. And the ocean provides that for free. You cannot jam it. You cannot shoot it down. You cannot negotiate with it. You can only find it, one by one, in the dark, on a seabed that stretches for hundreds of square miles. And you can never be certain you have found them all. This is why the Strait of Hormuz is still not fully open. This is why insurance markets are still pricing elevated risk. This is why oil prices have not normalized. Not because of any active combat. Because of objects that may or may not still be down there, waiting. $1,000 weapon, sitting on the ocean floor, in the dark, waiting. And right now, 21% of the world's oil has to pass over it. That is not a military problem. That is a design flaw in the global economy. And nobody has fixed it.